Welcome to Limitless Mindset. If you're hearing this right now, it's not by accident. You're here because something inside you is ready to grow, ready to rise, ready to break limits. This is not just motivation. This is your reminder that you are capable of more. So take a deep breath, focus your mind, open your heart. Let's begin. You know what most people are afraid to acknowledge to themselves? When you make the decision to become exceptional, your life starts to change at that precise instant. And I'm going to tell you something today, something straightforward, yet strong enough to change your relationships, profession, life, and perspective. PE. Close attention. Present yourself as the greatest. Pretend that you are superior to everyone. I understand what you're thinking now. Isn't that fake? That sounds haughty? No. This isn't conceit. It's not about disparaging other people. This is about realizing your greatest potential. I'm referring to adopting the mindset when I say act as if you are the best, the routines and the behavior of an individual who performs at the top level. I'm referring to having extremely high standards. That it compels you to develop into it. Have you ever observed an exceptional athlete or observed a master in action? Something about them, a calm assurance, a serene assurance, not conceit, assurance. They are aware of the effort they have put in. They've improved their abilities and they are ready. I want you to have that, the same presence when you carry yourself, that identical energy in all that you do. Now maybe you're thinking, but I'm not the best, not even close. What does that mean? That's exactly why this works, because when you act like the best, you start to think it's true, and when you come to believe it, you begin to become it. It starts to come true on its own. Imagine entering a job interview, anxious, self-doubting. Imagine now that you are the most qualified applicant they have ever seen. You speak with assurance, you move with intention. You believe you are the solution. Do you believe that the result is different? It does, of course, even if you don't succeed at that particular moment. You've already developed, you worked on your confidence, you set higher expectations, you become more resilient for the next chance. But make sure you understand this. You don't stop learning just because you act like the best. Actually, it means the reverse. The best people never stop improving. They continue to be hungry, they maintain their discipline. Thus, when you behave as best you can, you're making a commitment to excel. This holds true for all aspects of your life. In the relationships, you have be the best partner, the best friend, the best version of yourself. In your health, move like someone in peak condition. In your finances, decide like someone who controls their future. At first, it might feel like you're pretending. That's okay, because human beings adapt. You become what you repeatedly do. Confidence becomes real, discipline becomes natural, excellence becomes your identity. This isn't a joke, it's practiced on how you conduct. Yourself affects how the world reacts to you. Individuals regard you differently. Opportunities come your way. However, this isn't about deceiving people. It's about dismantling the mental deception. That voice that declares you're not worthy, that voice is incorrect. It was based on uncertainty, anxiety, and failure in the past. When you behave the best, you change that voice. You tell yourself, I am competent, I'm prepared, I'm capable of greatness. Additionally, over time, your reality is that belief. But pay close attention, this does not imply that you should overlook your flaws. The best people are aware of their shortcomings. However, they refuse to let those shortcomings define who they are. They make use of them, they develop from them. When you mix assurance, honestly, you become unstoppable. World's most prosperous individuals all possess this quality. They behave as though they fit in. Even before they're prepared, they move confidently, but quietly. They think they are valuable, and people start to believe that. It motivates others. It modifies surroundings. Imagine living each day with a strong conviction that you are your best self. How would you move? How would you talk? How would you respond to difficulties? That is this mindset's strength. It doesn't just change your results, it changes your identity. Thus, as of right now, I put you to the test. Present yourself as the greatest, not out of ego, but from conviction. When you're having trouble, ask, how would my ideal self react? Say this when you seize the chance: I'm prepared. Don't wait either. Don't wait to gain self-assurance. Don't wait for the ideal moment. Begin now, because no one ever feels completely prepared. The finest individuals in history didn't hold back. They took action. And by taking action, they prepared themselves to be the best. Then present yourself in the best possible light. Watch how your life rises to that level. Because when you uplift yourself, you uplift everyone in your vicinity. You start to become the norm, a power dot, a leader, and while doing so, now listen. This is where it becomes even more powerful. When you truly start acting as if you are the best, you don't just change yourself, you change the environment around you. Your standards rise. Your energy shifts. Your presence becomes different, and people feel it. Have you ever been around someone who carries themselves with confidence and calm authority? Someone who doesn't need to speak loudly, but you can feel their presence. That can be you. Because when you operate at a higher level, you force the world to respond at a higher level. You raise the bar, and others are either inspired to rise or they step out of your way. That is power. But here's something even deeper. When you begin to act like the best, you also begin to see the best in others. You stop being threatened. You stop comparing. Instead, you recognize greatness. You respect it, and you build with it. That's how leaders are created. That's how champions are built. Now, let's talk about something most people are afraid of: failure. Because I know some of you are thinking, what if I act like I'm the best and I fail? Good, because failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. It's required. It's necessary. When you act like the best, you are not saying you will never fall. You are saying, I will rise every single time I fall. The best don't avoid failure. They master it, they learn from it. They grow through it, they use it, and most importantly, they don't let it define them. What they fear is not failure. They fear regret. They fear living a life where they never tried, where they stayed small, where they played safe. So when you act like the best, you give yourself permission to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone, to chase what others are too afraid to chase. Is how you expand your limits. Now let's talk about comparison, because this world will constantly try to make you feel like you are behind. Social media will show you highlight after highlight, making you question your journey. But when you act like the best, you stop comparing. You realize something powerfully: your only competition is the person you were yesterday, and when you focus on becoming better every single day, you naturally rise above the noise. You naturally stand out. You naturally win. Now understand this clearly. Acting like the best does not mean you become comfortable. It does not mean you relax. It means you become even more hungry. The best are never satisfied. They always want more growth, more discipline, more excellence. They don't settle, they evolve. And when you adopt this mindset, you step into a new identity, a mindset of abundance, a mindset of possibility. You stop seeing problems and start seeing opportunities. You stop making excuses and start finding solutions. That's the difference. That's the shift. And here's something most people don't do, but the best do it every day. They visualize. Before they even start their day, they see themselves winning. They see themselves performing at their highest level. They mentally rehearse success. And when you see it clearly enough, you begin to act it out in reality. So I challenge you, every morning, take a few minutes, close your eyes, and see the strongest version of yourself: confident, focused, unstoppable. Then, go live it. Now, let's talk about your words, because your language shapes your reality. Stop saying, I'll try. Say, I will. Stop saying, I hope. Say, I know. Stop saying, I can't. Start asking, how can I? These small shifts create massive changes, because when you speak like the best, you start thinking like the best. And when you think like the best, you begin to live like the best. Now, let's destroy another myth. You don't need to be perfect. Perfection is a trap. It stops people from starting. The goal is not perfection. The goal is excellent, doing your best with what you have right now and improving every single day. The best make mistakes, but they don't run from them. They learn from them, they grow, they move forward. So give yourself permission to fail forward, to rise stronger, to keep going, because that is how greatness is built. Now, let's talk about discipline, because nothing works without it. When you act like the best, you build powerful habits. You become focused, intentional, consistent. You stop wasting time. You start protecting your energy. And over time, these habits become automatic. What once felt hard becomes who you are. That's when everything changes. Now, let me tell you something important about humility. Acting like the best does not mean thinking you are above others. It means knowing your value. Without needing validation, true humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. The best don't brag, they don't. Shout, they let their actions speak. And because they are secure, they can celebrate others too. That is real power, and that is real confidence. Now let's talk about leadership, because whether you realize it or not, you are influencing people every day when you act like the best. You lead by example. People watch you. They feel your energy. They are inspired by your actions. You don't need a title. To be a leader, you just need standards. And Now listen carefully, because this is where everything comes together. At the end of the day, this is not just about acting. This is about identity. Because whatever you repeatedly do becomes who you are if you keep doubting yourself. You become someone who hesitates if you keep playing small. You become someone who settles. But if you choose every single day to act like the best version of yourself, you become that person. Not someday, not in the future, but starting now. Because identity is not something you wait for. It's something you build, moment by moment, decision by decision, action by action. So the real question is this: who are you becoming? Are you becoming someone who makes excuses, or someone who takes responsibility? Are you becoming someone who waits, or someone who acts? Because every choice you make is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. And here's the truth: most people avoid. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to push you. No one is coming to hand you success. On you, your mindset, your discipline, your standards, that's what will determine your future. So if it's on you, why not choose power? Why not choose growth? Why not choose to act like the best version of yourself right now? Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because your life is being shaped in this very moment by what you do and by what you tolerate. Let me say that again: your life is shaped not only by what you do, but by what you tolerate. What excuses are you accepting? What habits are you allowing? What standards are you lowering? Because when you raise your standards, everything changes. You stop accepting average, stop accepting less than you deserve. You stop negotiating with weakness, and you start demanding more from yourself. That's when transformation begins. Now imagine this. Imagine waking up every single day with clarity, with purpose, with confidence. Imagine walking into every room knowing you belong there. Imagine facing every challenge with strength, not fear. That is not a dream. That is a decision. And it starts with one simple shift. Act like the best, even when you don't feel ready, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's hard. Because those moments, those uncomfortable moments, are where your new life is built. That's where growth lives. That's where greatness is created. And understand this: the difference between average and extraordinary is not talent, it's standards. Average people wait for motivation. The best create discipline. People avoid pressure. The best grow through it. Average people doubt. The best decide. So which one are you going to be? Because the opportunity is right in front of you, right? Now, in this moment, to step into a higher version of yourself, to stop holding back, to stop playing small, to stop waiting, and to finally become who you were meant to be. But it requires one thing: commitment. Not interest, not motivation, commitment. The kind of commitment that says, I will show up no matter how I feel. I will execute even when it's hard. I will keep going when others quit. That's the mindset of the best. And once you step into that, there is no going back, because you've seen what you're capable of. You've felt your power, and you realize something. Incredibly, we're never limited. You were just holding yourself back. So now, it's time to step up, time to rise, time to become, act like the best, think like the best, move like the best. And most importantly, decide that no one is better than you, not because you are above others, but because you refuse to live below your potential, because you refuse to settle, because you refuse to waste your life. And when you live like that, when you commit like that, when you show up like that, you don't just change your future, you take control of it. So stand up, lock in, and go become the person you know you can be. And before you leave this message, before you move on with your day, I need you to understand something that could change everything for you. This is not just motivation, this is a decision point right here, right now, because most people will hear words like this, feel inspired for a moment, and then go back to their old habits, back to comfort, back to excuses, back to average, not because they can't change, but because they don't decide to change. And that's the difference. The people who win in life are not the most talented. They are not the luckiest. They are the ones who decide. They decide that enough is enough. They decide that they will no longer live below their potential. They decide to raise their standards and never lower them again. So let me ask you something. Honestly, how long are you going to keep waiting? How long are you going to keep telling yourself I'll start tomorrow? How long are you going to keep doubting what you already know you're capable of? Because deep down, you already know you can do more. You know you can be more. You know you are meant for more. So why are you holding back? Why are you playing small? Why are you living like you are average when there is something inside you that is anything but average? Listen, the version of you that you dream about, that confident version, that disciplined version, that unstoppable version, it already exists. It's not something you create from nothing. It's something you activate, and you activate it through action, through standards, through decisions, not feelings. Because if you wait to feel ready, you will wait forever. If you wait for motivation, you will stay stuck. But if you move, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you're afraid, that's when everything changes. That's when you separate yourself. That's when you become different. And let me tell you something, real growth is not comfortable. Becoming the best version of yourself is not easy. It requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires you to let go of habits, people, and mindsets that no longer serve you. But that's the price of greatness. And the question is, are you willing to pay it? Because average is cheaper. Average is easy. Average requires nothing from you, but it gives you nothing in return. Greatness is different. Greatness demands everything, but it gives you everything. Pride, confidence, freedom, purpose. So choose not with your words, but with your actions. Because your actions are the only truth, not what you say, not what you plan, not what you wish. What you do every single day, that's what defines you. That's what builds your future. And here's something powerful every single day. You are either building your dream or building your regret. There is no in between. Every distraction, every excuse, every delay is costing you something. Time, energy, opportunity, and you don't get those back. So stop wasting them. Start using them. Start investing them into becoming who you are meant to be, because your life is not a rehearsal. This is it. This is your shot. This is your opportunity, and you don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You don't need permission. You need a decision, a real decision, the kind of decision that says, no matter what happens, I will not go back. I will not settle. I will not quit on myself. That's where everything begins. And once you make that decision, everything changes. Your focus changes. Your habits change. Your environment changes, because now you are no longer hoping for a better life. You are creating it. So from this moment forward, walk differently, think differently, move differently. Demand more from yourself, because you are capable of more. And it's the time you start living like it. Act like the best, even in silence, even when nobody is watching, because who you are in private is who you truly are. And when you master that, when your discipline is real, when your mindset is strong, when your standards are high, nothing can stop you. Nothing. So take this with you. You are not here to be average. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise, to grow, to dominate your potential. So step into it right now and never look back.